Welcome back to Good Day. So we chatted with the well-read, well-said gals a moment ago, but the love of reading begins early in childhood, and those books are all about imagination. So take one cowboy boot-wearing, award-winning illustrator, designer, and paper engineer, let him write. You get stories of pigs and dinosaurs, bricks, and doodlebugs. Author Merril Rainey joins us this morning. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're talking about Dr. Doodlebug. This is a project that you worked on with another author.
I did. So it was co-created with Susan E. Goodman. It was one of these projects where an editor that we both have worked with over the years Susan had wrote all these kind of like Dear Sally letters. And then Jill, our editor, had brought the letters to me and said there was probably originally somewhere between like 10 and 20 letters. The book itself only like has 4 because we had to kind of pare it down.
Sure.
But she was like, can we put it together in a cohesive story format and to my love of radio,
yeah.
What came right to mind. I always joke around, and my kids kind of make fun of me as I listen to Delilah at night. Like,
Delilah.
Yeah, yep. And I have since. I went to Kent State, and I used to work in the student union, and I'd be mopping floors at like 11 o'clock midnight, and that's what would be playing.
Voice.
Yeah, that's what would be playing in the kitchen, and ever since. But that's what kind of came to mind because it's Dr. Doodlebug's helping other bugs, and so they're calling or emailing or Zooming or texting or whatever. We threw some little more modern technology into it. And the 4 bugs that are in there, they have some form of problem. And then Dr. Doodlebug kind of gives kind of a smarty, funny answer, but also compassionate in the same way. So, so a little bit of humor, a little bit of love.
Maybe you like Frasier too. This could be or one of the other.
Sure.
So you did the illustrations.
I did.
This is really, really just incredible. Have you always been a doodler?
As far as I can remember, I always get the question like, how do you get better at drawing? And I'm like, well, I'm 45, so I've got a few years on anybody, on a lot of young people. But as far as I can remember, when I do school visits, I talk about the word boredom, and then how that's the catalyst of creativity.
Yeah.
And growing up, we had no cable TV, YouTube and TikTok and all those things didn't exist, right? And so we had to fill our time with things. And I come from a large family, and we spent a lot of time drawing or going on imaginary ventures or whatever it might be. My mom was the school secretary, and I can remember we had to get up early because she was the person who unlocked the doors at the school, and we always had time before school, and so there was always paper and pencils. I was just thinking about this the other day. Whatever table we sat at had drawers in it, and we had a drawer that had all of our drawings and pencils in it. So when we came back the next day, you pull
pick it back up.
Pick it back up. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So also in this book, clearly there's the stories and there's the pictures.
Yep.
There's a little bit of science in here too.
There is. So each bug. So Dr. Doodlebug gives the scientific answer of why each of the bugs are having the problem. So Sam the stink bug can't make friends because he's stinky, right? Yeah. And so Dr. Doodlebug goes into how the stink of a stink bug is actually his superpower. And it's actually what helps keep other predators from eating stink bugs, right? And so he goes into a little bit of scientific in terms of like what chemicals are making it and where the smell comes out on a stink bug. And then, of course, to spin it into a more fun, enjoyable, Sam the stink bug imagines himself as a superhero and then making friends because he's able to save them.
That's so fun. Yeah. So fun. What would you say, what kind of level reader are we talking about here?
It's categorized as kind of an early reader, so it looks like a picture book. So it goes, I think our age range is 4 to 8 is what it's listed as. So.
Wow, okay, so those are early readers, and then it's like graphically appealing to the kids too. Yeah. So you have an event coming up?
I do, at Gathering Volumes on November 5th at 6:30 p.m. So. It's a series of a bunch of different book launch release events that we've been doing, and we'll be doing, obviously, reading Dr. Doodlebug. Usually try to make it a little bit interactive.
Yeah.
I was just at the Mazda Museum down in Findlay over the weekend, and we had 4 kids come out of the audience, and I always have costume components. So one was they had butterfly wings to the antenna hanging off their head to one of the lightning bugs in the back has a Hawaiian shirt, and so one kid was dressed up in his Hawaiian shirt. So I always do an interactive reading, and then just from the creative, crafty side of me, there's always some kind of craft informed. So we'll be building bugs out of your traditional craft supplies, from craft sticks to Chanel stems to googly eyes, and a little bit of glue, and with the preface of that every bug has a purpose. And so I want the kids to think about if they were ever to create a bug, if they had that opportunity, what would they want the purpose of that bug to be? So what's its superpower? Like really, kind of a little bit more, a little thinking, critical thinking, and to get them thinking about, okay, like, because even, jokingly flies, right? Like, they have a purpose, whether we like them or not,
That might be it. No. So that's really fun. That's happening at Gathering Volumes in Perrysburg.
Yes.
What would that be, on Wednesday?
Next Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, next Wednesday, 6:30. How fun is that to get the kids in there?
Totally.
That's really cool to get them excited about reading. There's so much to it with the bugs and the superheroes and the drawing and the crafts. I think it's really cool to get them hooked early.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. One of the things that I always, there's always Easter eggs, right? When you get a chance to illustrate, there's a spread in the back with Antonio Ant, and it shows his adventure, because ants use their pheromones to help them find their way home, so they can basically travel anywhere. And Antonio's afraid he'll never find his way home if he goes out on adventures. So there's a spread where it shows like his whole journeying path to get home. And I always bring up a slide of the Berenstain Bears' Spooky Old Tree. And that was a book that I used to pull out of the library a lot. And
I have that one, I think, yeah.
And there's lots of spreads where it shows the bears going through the spooky old tree, and it shows all the nooks and crannies. And I just used to get lost in the artwork of seeing that journey. So that specific illustration of Antonio Ant is kind of my little homage to the Berenstains, in the sense of trying to just give the kid an opportunity to get lost in the artwork, and just sit there and absorb everything that's kind of going on and follow Antonio as he's going on this adventure. So obviously the love of reading in art has been with me for
a long time. Yeah, and inspiring the next generation of readers. You can come out, Gathering Volumes, on the 5th, 6:30. If people can't make it but they want a copy, how do they get one?
So generically, it's sold wherever books are sold.
Okay.
Obviously, I work with Gathering Volumes a lot with books. So if you're local, I'm always a big component of supporting local and independent bookstores. Denise does a fabulous job with supporting authors and illustrators in the area. So that would be my number one place to go. But if you're not in the area, obviously you can order from her as well. There's an online website that you can go up to and order. And if you did want it like autographed or signed, there's a note spot in there that you could put like, please sign it to whoever, or note it to whoever.
Beautiful.
And I'm happy to doodle an image in the front.
The holidays are coming up.
Yeah.
Might be a good gift.
That's right.
Hey, thanks so much for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And thank you for making Toledo's Most Watched 9 a.m. show part of this Tuesday morning. You can't miss it. It's everywhere this time of year, and will be for at least another week. But what are Ohio's favorite Halloween candies? We're going to find out when Good Day returns.